please welcome my good friend, Jack G.
Thank you, sir.
Are your shoes comfortable?
These are actually.
Because I feel like with the little, take off your shoe. Take it off.
Seriously?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So, like, I remember when I was like, let's zoom in on this. When I was young, like, I'd see these old people, and it's got these little, right? And so, that is not very techie shoes, right? If you would have come with techie, it would have been like sneakers. Like the Wozniak, right?
That's right.
He'd come in with dress shoes as Wozniak go in and come in dressed like this, JT Foxx tie, and running shoes.
Running shoes,
But what is a text box builder in case people don't know? A lot of people in the industry know what that is.
I get called when people get stuck, right? So
Define stuck.
They can't scale an application. They have an idea, they don't know how to build it, or they have a big problem in their business. Like when I went to Overstock to be their CIO for a couple years.
Overstock got bought by Amazon, correct? Or was that owned by
Amazon? No, they're still independent, actually.
Oh, they're independent.
They're still independent.
So Overstock is all the things that
people don't want to buy that they grab and then
I thought Amazon
resell.
did this, so they don't own it.
I
thought they own everything.
No, they don't own Overstock.
They don't own
Overstock's
those shoes.
a lot smaller.
They don't own those shoes, though. I promise you.
Right? No, they don't have the. I got wide feet, man. I got to find wide feet. So anyway.
Hey, I took their Walmart's got great white feet shoes.
But they do.
I love those shoes. But yes,
It's all
go ahead.
good. No, so when I went to Overstock, they were going from 100 million to 200 million to 500 million, and all their systems were broke. You'd order this hat, and they'd send you this book. Okay, think about that in watches and more expensive stuff, and they were losing a lot of money. So we had about 6 months to rebuild that place for the next Christmas season, where we did almost $1 billion. Right, so we almost 2x that, not 10, 2x that, and. But everything went pretty flawlessly from a customer service perspective.
So give us an example. And then you went into the aviation space and you solved those problems, which are very meticulous because obviously people don't realize how meticulous aviation is, especially because one thing goes wrong, it could be, there's a lot of systems and regulations and processes. So you go from one to another, and now you're into the tech space. So give us an example of run through a problem and how it's solved. Maybe a common problem a lot of us would have in business to give us an idea.
Well, in many cases, these guys come to us, whether it's aviation or whatever, and say, I got this problem. For instance, compliance is huge in aviation, right? Everything's got to be signed off. Everything's got to be to the T, or you get fines. You get, people could die, right, if you don't have the right training and everything else. They're doing that on spreadsheets. They're literally doing it on spreadsheets or side little applications and stuff, and nothing's integrated. So there's a lot of potential for error. So we look at that and we go, okay, how's the data being collected? How's the stuff being scheduled? How are we going to put that data together and these systems together to allow them to see it in one spot, right? So that when I dispatch that flight, I know the pilot's good. If it's an instruction flight, I know the instructor's good. I know the aircraft is signed off, and everybody else is ready to go. Overstock, same thing. Do I have it in inventory? Have I reserved the inventory if it's sold, right? And what kind of shipping am I putting on it, right? So it really doesn't matter what the problem is. As long as you have all the data in one spot and the ability to scale it, right, to be able to use it, because just having the data in a database doesn't matter if you can't get it out. I use the analogy of a Slurpee, right? A lot of people have a lot of data, but they're trying to suck it through a cocktail straw. And how are you going to get to it, right?
Is that a left brain joke?
I tried.
Yeah, that was like the left brainer's like.
All five of us.
As a right brainer, I was like.
All five of us, yeah. Yeah. I think I found 5 tech guys last night.
Yeah, the tech guy. Like I could tell the left brainers. They were just like grinning, and I looked at the audience.
Anyway.
It's a good try, though.
They don't have Slurpees either, right?
No, yeah. Last time I heard the word Slurpee was on The Simpsons. That was a while back ago. I think they've upgraded the Slurpees, Jack.
Yep.
So what is the number one, in business per se, the number one issue do you think is the biggest bottleneck? And how's that problem get solved?
Wow. To be honest, communication. So communication between the business people and what they need and the IT people of what they got to put together. Because there's so many things being created right now that are almost right. They're 80%, 90% there, and they end up not being used, or a lot of money's wasted trying to get them right.
How did Tesla solve that? Because I know earlier on that a problem between design, technology, same thing with the rockets, right? They're especially those big companies. what has those biz companies do to make it work that now they're some of the most valuable companies in the world?
Well, in a lot of cases, you got to invent technology, right? Or you got to invent workflows and processes that put that together. So my wife's an aerospace engineer, if you guys want to meet her here, another left-brainer. But when you look at what SpaceX is doing with their engines, they're 3D printing those. You know, they're not using welders, right? They're 3D printing their engines. Who would have thought of that, 20 years ago, right?
5 years ago.
Yeah. So that's thinking outside the box, right? That's creating a new box, to use the title.
But it's a risky, though, box.
It's very risky, right?
Right? Because if it doesn't work, your company goes broke.
Boeing would not have done that, right?
No.
Elon would have,
Right.
right? I've worked in Boeing. I've worked with Boeing. Elon will just make those risks.
And is that the difference, though, is that there's I always say, there are people who think inside the box and never make it. People think outside the box, they make a little bit of money. People throw the box out the window and become very successful. And then there are people like Bezos and Musk who create the box.
Right.
Right? But you can go big or go broke.
Right.
Right? And you have to be willing to go broke in order to go big.
Correct.
And maybe that's why I just threw the box out the window and threw a lot of them. And I always think about what if I had done, I have very high net worth, but part of me was thinking like, I could have created the box, but for some reason, my mindset was this. If I go broke again, everyone's going to see, ha, he didn't make it. Right? And there's a pressure of Elon to do that.
Right.
Right? Because you're very successful, but you don't want to go back.
Right.
And Elon had made it in PayPal, but they didn't give him the credit. Right?
Right.
And so when he did Tesla, if that doesn't work, and almost went bankrupt twice.
Yep.
And one as early as 2 months before the pandemic started.
Correct.
So what is a lesson that you could help us with, right? Or you help a lot of people, whether they watch this for later on. Because a lot of people, if you don't have any processes, you're not going to work on it yourself. That's one thing I've realized. That's why people call the biggest consultants, or they call consultants, they call people, and they say, here's my problem. You do it, we'll implement it. Because if you say you do it, it'll never get done.
Right.
So what is your greatest strength to go in there? Because you've done it for so many companies and so many people.
Well, what I try to do is initially turn the tech hat off unless I'm hired just to solve a tech problem. What is the business trying to do? What are they trying to action? Right? Are they trying to increase sales, increase promotions?
But how do you deal with the egos of both? Because it's not on the same page.
It's huge, right? It's huge.
So, and also too, you're dealing with egos, and then you on the outside coming in,
Correct.
Which they don't want the outsider to come in because they may be threatened that either they'll be exposed that they're not doing a good job, or it's not their idea. Well, so you have three conflicting personalities.
Right, and for me, it's a little easier because I've run $120 million sales organizations, and I've also written code, right? I've run 400-person IT departments, so I can get the respect of both sides, and generally I'll have them in the room at the same time. Now, not everybody, but the key leaders, and the other key is go up, right? Work with the CEOs, work with the VPs, because those are the guys that can actually tell you what needs to get done versus the lower level people that are just trying to build their kingdoms.
So the key is you bring everybody together and you give them a Slurpee.
Exactly. with a lot of regular straws so they can share, right? Yeah, something like that.
Wasn't funny 5 minutes ago.
No, it wasn't funny now.
It didn't translate to.
No.
Mega Slurpees, my new brand.
Right. That's right.
Last question, coaching is a big part. You have big companies and all kinds of people come to you, especially in the tech space. And then you came to me to basically say, hey, I need someone to do what I do because I need to see what I'm not doing. How's the coaching done? And we actually do deals together. We now invest together as well, too.
Yep.
So
the coaching's been great for me because I'm moving kind of away from the aviation space back into a more general tech space. And my network got very aviation focused, right? So you've been helping me expand my brand, try to figure out how to launch things like the podcast we launched about a month ago. His episode's out there right now.
It was a good one, too. It was a good one.
I got him to laugh. I got him to tell a joke.
Well, I pretended to laugh. That's the big difference. I was trying to be nice. No, but it's great, and also a lot of influential people in a short amount of time.
That's right.
If you know what you do, you could always do it in many different industries. And super authentic, and anybody here watching this, if it's broken, you're not going to fix it because you already would have fixed it.
That's right.
And now I think it's become more mainstream to be able to get somebody outside is, what do you see I don't see?
Yeah.
What do we need to do?
Right.
How do we get it done? And that's why you get down and dirty in this, and that's why you've done very well.
That's
so
right.
I'm so happy.
Dig into the details.
Yeah,
Yep.
and you've done it like in hard industries. You've done it in like Overstock.com, so you've done it into the online tech space. You've done it in aviation, and now you're in overall tech. It's been fantastic.
Yep.
Jack, you are a great man. Give him
Thanks
a big
a lot.
round of applause,
Appreciate
Jack.
it.